I
I'm
was
very much.
I was taught, and especially in these type of situations, and it sounds very cold and callous, and it's, I guess, a way that we protect ourselves. DEATH. I'm still learning TikTok service where,
Unalive.
unalive. Okay. Yeah. This wasn't my unaliving. This wasn't my family. This wasn't my person. This wasn't mine. I was just there. And that's how, this isn't my grief. And to take away and to absorb their grief and make it my own is actually, in a way, insulting to them, because this isn't about me. It's about them.
Kat, did we just have this conversation?
We literally had this conversation last night. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I'm also in the room with some regularity, especially these days as more and more people are getting older. Debate and all that. And I fully understand that. And every time I start to get upset, I'm like, you selfish piece of crap. Like, how are you going to make this about you right now? Kat said that was really helpful for me was that you are allowed to take on the emotion. Once you have had the emotion, you're also allowed to put down the emotion. Like, you're allowed to
let them go.
Let them go. Yeah. And I think, like, to me, ritual is a strength that you may not even realize is there. I'm not trying to, like, preach in any way, shape, or form. I'm trying to acknowledge that, look, I did one unit of clinical pastoral education, and it was in a high-level trauma hospital. And most people don't realize how much it is. And yeah, I guess I'm wondering, like, is part of that, like, here's the question, why did you use that as your example?
Do these situations feel like they necessitate a spiritual kind of belief? Or like a spiritual kind of, or some kind of like religious or spiritual thing to help get through them?
For myself?
Yeah.
I don't know, because sometimes I wish I did have a faith to fall back on, because there's things I've seen, I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense and it's not fair. Can you explain it? If you were, if you were the Christian God, if you're so loving and merciful, why did you let this happen? Which, is, I think, something a lot of people struggle with.
Mm-hmm. That the Christian God, or a God of any type, a God that we don't know of, or a God of one of the other religions, or any God at all, is there. Do you like, if you were to sit down and say to yourself, do I really think that a God exists? What would the answer be?
I honestly do. I think at times I think there is something bigger than us. And at times I'm like, nope, there's nothing. And it goes back and forth between, whatever's going on in my personal life and in my career and things like that.
What do you want out of this God that you're going back and forth between?
Answers? Like
to what questions?
It would be more for myself, like, why did you let these things happen, and why did, why did things turn out the way they did? And you know, I know it's very vague, but it's just, you know, certain situations in my life, I'd be like, why? I think that's the biggest question. Why?
It's a good one.
Thank you, Shell.
Or I just would be a petulant child.
Too.
I mean, I think the only thing that ever really resonated with me, and I always go back to her, was a book I read, Many Lives, Many Masters, and it was my instructor who had us read it, knew the doctor who wrote it, and I remember him speaking to us, and I was like, that really resonated for some reason.
Does the God have to exist for it to be meaningful?
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
When you say exist, like for all eternity, or just existed there for a set period of time?
Just exist at all.
I don't know. I think it would be a time period. Kind of give it a I don't know, like give it a focus in a way. I'm not explaining myself well.
How did you understand that question? What did you understand me to be asking you?
For God to exist, did he, you know, when I think of that, I think of, you know, Jesus,
So
That
let me rephrase it.
God.
Yeah, if there is no God that exists, could this idea of God still be meaningful?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why?
My head around that one for a second.
Yeah,
Sure.
take a second, absolutely.
Love. I mean,
While she wraps her head around that one for just a moment, let me just thank everybody for getting us, the 8 of us in here. If we keep tapping the screen just a little bit, I bet we could get a few more people capable of questioning their beliefs. Am I really that quiet?
You were a little quiet.
Better.
That was worse, and waking up.
Wow.
No. Okay.
Not yours. Oh, you're being funny. Got it.
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to think about that for a bit.
Yeah, that is a perfectly acceptable answer, and I hope that you do, and I hope, okay, so if the God does not have to exist for it to be meaningful, is it possible that you can find the meaning, and still apply it in your life, you know, without having to fully be immersed in the belief?
Something I don't like I said earlier, I think maybe just with the indoctrination of growing up with different religions, you're wanting to put a focus onto something.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to wrap your mind around the possibility instead of something that you were told is concrete. And that's something I do struggle with.
Yeah, I understand that, absolutely. This need to understand why people have this faith. I have been in pursuit of this for a long time and still haven't figured it out. So if you figure it out, let me know.
Listen, if I could figure it out, I think I'd be able to write a book mistake.
You have
Do you
been
think
wonderful.
I have a
I don't have any more questions. That was all.
I got a couple questions. Do you think
Go ahead,
that
Rev. But first, I
meaning
gotta real
making?
quick.
Oh,
I just real quick, I gotta thank Shell for the sparklers. Thank you, Shell. But go ahead, Rev.
um,
I speak to him quite often. We actually have a number of denominations that come through.
and do you speak about like the process by which someone begins to make meaning?
Not lately.
Uh,
Actually, the religious leader that
nice. Um,
he keeps teasing me. He's like, "I'm gonna get you to join the tribe." I'm like, "I'm good."
oh my.
We have a very sick sense of humor down in the ER.
That's good. I think the most profound thing that I've like seen happen in in trauma wards is people like telling the story of their trauma, and like when you start to tell the story, you start to like that's like how meaning is made, is by telling the story. And I guess I'm wondering like what story you're telling yourself about this, maybe, or I don't want to put words in your mouth. So whatever it is that you're going through, what is the story you're telling yourself that is happening?
There's a lot of guilt that I don't believe, that I don't have faith. I have coworkers that are faith. I call it a high faith value. Um, they speak openly about their faith and their religion and stuff, and then I have coworkers who don't, and then I carry a lot of guilt that I don't have something, even though I feel like I should.
Why?
Back to the childhood, you're supposed to have a faith, you're supposed to believe in something. I mean, a lot of people have their identity, I'm Christian, I'm Jewish, I'm Muslim, I'm this, I'm that. That's part of their identity, and I'm just like, nah, don't got one.
Is faith the
Why
same
can't
as identity?
atheist or agnostic be an identity in that
Yeah, exactly.
regard?
Morgan, I thought you were messing around, but you were very soft.
I can't help it.
It is, and it's something I still carry of like that's not an acceptable identity.
Why?
Who?
Yeah, why?
using the Hebrew Bible in order to support its own claims, and that it's not that the Hebrew Bible was written
For the Christian Bible, rather, the Christian Bible uses the Hebrew Bible in order to support itself.
And the Hebrew Bible would be like essentially the Old Testament.
Correct. Yeah, I just don't like using that term personally.
Yeah, but I mean, I can understand what you're saying. I wouldn't necessarily say it's the Christian Bible, but
Well, the Christian Bible would be the quote-unquote Old Testament and the quote-unquote New Testament.
I mean, if that's how you define it, then yeah.
Well, how would you define the Christian Bible?
I would just say that would be the completed Bible.
Say that again. You just say it was the what?
Just the completed Bible.
Yeah. How might that be a problematic way of looking at it?
I mean, obviously, this would conflict with Judaism, as Judaism only believes in the Old Testament.
Right. And the fact that Judaism still exists, and the fact that Judaism rejected the claim, doesn't that present an issue to the Christian claim?
Not necessarily.
Why not?
I mean, just because Judaism says something doesn't mean it's completely true.
Well, did Judaism create? I mean, we've already established that Judaism created the text, right?
Sure.
And so if the people who wrote the book say, no, that's not what we meant, doesn't that create an issue for the credibility?
There is not anybody who has wrote in the book is still alive or has been advocating for anything. I don't even believe that the people who wrote the book would have been alive when
he said the people who wrote the book, he meant like the group of people,
Right.
like the Jews.
Collective, right?
Yes.
The peoples.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's like if you and Thrayle were to write a book and then Kat was your friend, and then essentially I come along, I read your book, and I say, well, there's this, and then Kat says, well, that's not what they meant. Kat wouldn't be able to give an 100% accurate description of what y'all meant because she would not have been the person.
Oh, that's interesting. So how do you know that? How do you know that my friends, so to speak, I mean, I would say my descendants would be more accurate. How do you know they wouldn't be able to?
Because they wouldn't have been you. I mean, no one is able to give a 100% accurate description of someone.
It's interesting. So, are you familiar? I can only imagine not, but the accuracy with which the text was recorded is demonstrated in the Qumran scrolls, the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah.
Right. So, doesn't that sort of put to rest that concern?
No, I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I don't take from the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Can you question your beliefs?
No, he can't. He's up here to debate. He thinks it's a debate.
Well, I'm not completely understanding the question.
He's just here to argue with whatever question is presented. Present apologetics and then say they're not apologetics. And occasionally slip out a little anti-Semitism that he doesn't think is anti-Semitism.
Okay, sure.
What was inaccurate?
I am not anti-Semitic.
I didn't say you were.
No, really anti-Semitic, but I think that what you said was anti-Semitic, and I think that maybe think about it and reflect on it.
I'm gonna follow you.
I can see how it could have been interpreted that way, but if my meaning behind the conversation we're having right now, if my meaning behind that wasn't that being anti-Semitic, then it wouldn't have been anti-Semitic.
Then it's automatically not, and it couldn't be problematic at all.
So he made it into a debate. It's a debate now. He's got a perspective, a point of view he wants to argue. It is this, therefore that.
This isn't a debate space, and I think
I didn't believe it was.
Yeah, okay. So I think like I just followed you. I would be interested in continuing this conversation in a way that that you might I think that you're at the beginning of your understanding of the text. I think it sounds like you're just coming into this conversation that is thousands of years old, and I actually think that you have a propensity to ask more questions at some point. But I think what my dear friends are so graciously trying to explain is that when you undermine the Jewish story, it is problematic because um, it it's called supersessionism is what it's called.
I mean, sure,
Um,
I would completely apologize for the how it could have been interpreted.
Thank you.
Well, I mean, I do believe this conversation is over. I applaud you and thank you for the conversation.
It's unbelievable.
What?
I don't understand why people turn questions into.
It doesn't make sense.
Because their traumas are triggered. Touch the source. The chat has just been
Amazing.
Yeah,
Am I,
unruly.
am I missing anything?
Just
we're taking
wild
care
what's
of
in the
it. We're
chat.
taking care of it.
Yeah, just
Amazing
getting
moderators.
just unruly down here.
Like it
Some big
feels like
W's.
Like just people saying weird shit.
dude, Onyx keeps tagging me and saying the weirdest things that and I'm so confused.
We're gonna end up crowding the panel, but I'll let up.
About time.
Yeah, Sage, what's up?
Sage is here, I'm dropped.
An exegesis is when someone
He's been
He's really been wanting to get that out.
My usual
Great
line
for
is
you to
that
see it.
eisegesis.
I learned a new contradiction, Thrayle.
oh,
It is Matthew. It says